Hello everybody, it's me, Program17, and today we're going to be doing the final video on AMC 8 2020, questions 16 to 25. Now let's get started. Okay, first question. Each of the points A, B, C, D, E, and F are in the figure below represents a different digit from 1 to 6. Each of the 5 lines shown passes through some of these points. The digits along each line are added to produce 5 sums, one for each line. The total of the 5 sums is 47. What is the digit represented by B? So, the first thing you would notice is that every point except B goes through 2 lines. And B is the only one that actually goes through 3 lines. See, 1, 2, and 3. And all other ones, like A, for this case, 1 and 2. So after you notice this, if they're all different digits from 1 to 6, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 is 21. And 21 times 2, because of all these, would be 42. And they said the total of the 5 sums is 47. So 47 minus 42, you get 5. So that would be the remaining amount for B. So our answer is E5. Okay, next question. How many positive integer factors of 2020 have more than 3 factors? As an example, 12 has 6 factors, namely 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So, first we have to figure out all the factors of 2020, which is 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 101, 202, 404, 505, 1010, and 2020. So, in this, there are only a few that cannot have 3, and they're mostly all the prime or all the small numbers that cannot have 3 factors. So 1 doesn't have 3 factors, 2 doesn't have 3 factors, same 4 doesn't have 3 factors, and 5 doesn't have 3 factors, and 101 is prime, and that does not have 3 factors. So these left over, if you count all these up, that's the answer, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our answer is B7. Okay, next question. A rectangle ABCD is inscribed in a semicircle with a diameter FE, as shown in the figure. Let DA equal 16 and FD equal AE, which equals 9. What is the area of ABCD? So, the first thing we would look at here is to find the diameter. So the diameter would equal 16 plus 9 plus 9, which would be 34. And we all know that half the diameter is the radius, which means from this middle point to any point in around the circle would be the radius. And that's going to be half the diameter, which would mean the radius is 17. So if we start from this point C and go down to the middle, that would make this 17, and it would also make a right angle. And if this is 16 and just square rectangle side, that means half of this would be 8. So this here would be 8. And let's say this unknown side is x. So to solve this, that would be 8 squared plus x squared equals 17 squared. And to simplify that down, it would equal x squared equals 225. And if we simplify that down one more time, we get x equals 15. So if this was the rectangle C, B, D, and A, that means this line right here would be 16 from that, and we just figured out that x is 15. So to figure out the area of ABCD, we would do 16 times 15, which is 240. So our answer is A, 240. Okay, next question. A number is called Flippy if its digits alternate between two distinct digits. For example, 2020 and 37373 are Flippy, but 3883 and 123123 are not. How many 5-digit Flippy numbers are divisible by 15? So, the first thing we would do here is if it's divisible by 15, an easier way of doing that is if it's divisible by 3 and 5. And a trick for 5, to finding out 5, is has to be ending with 0 or 5 to be divisible by 5. And for 3, a trick is if you add up all the numbers and you divide it by 3, the sum of all the numbers divided by 3, if that is divisible by 3 and again you get a whole number, that means that the whole entire thing is divisible by 3. So if we look at the first option for 5, if we have the last digit as 0, what would happen? So it would be 01010 as the first option. And you can't have a 5-digit starting with 0, so 0 is not even in the question. So it has to start and end in 5. Now all we need to worry about is the 3 section of the 15. So now if we look at over at this side, it starts at 50505 all the way goes to 59595. If we look at this, we have to see how many of these is divisible by 3. So if we add the first one up, 5 plus 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 5, you get 15, which is divisible by 3. So this one is an option. The next one is not. The next one is not. And 53535 is an option. 54545 is not. 55555 is not. 56565 is. 57575 is not. 58585 is not. And 59595 is. So in total there is 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer is B, 4. Next question. A scientist walking through the forest recorded as integers the height of 5 trees standing in a row. She observed that each tree was either twice as tall or half as tall as the one to its right. Unfortunately, some of her data was lost when rain fell on her notebook. Her notes are shown below with blanks indicating the missing numbers. Based on her observations, the scientist was able to reconstruct the lost data. What was the average height of trees in the meters? Okay, so all the information we have right now is tree 2 was 11. And it's saying that the trees to its right are double or half. So that means you can't half 11. So that means tree 1 has to be 22. So 1 would be 22. 2 we already know is 11. And then 3 would have to be 22 also because we can't have 11. And then we have some options for 4. We can half it or double it. So we can make it 44 or 11. So if we do 11 for 4, we can divide for 5. We can't divide for 5. So we're going to have to multiply. So for now, let's just keep it at 44 and 88 or 22. Then what we would do is we noticed that it ends in 0.2, and we figured out all of these, and these are all even, so we want to keep it like that. So we don't want to change the 44 to 11. We want to keep the 44, and we just have to put these in and find the average. So just say we do 22 first. we will get as an average 24.2. And if you look here, B is 24.2. So, without checking 88, we already know that our answer is B. Okay, next question. A game board consists of 64 squares that alternate in color between black and white. The figure below shows square P in the bottom row and square Q in the top row. A marker is placed at P, and a step consists of moving the marker onto one of the adjoining white squares in the row above. How many 7-step paths are from P to Q? The figure shows a sample path. So, let's check the farthest we can go from here to here to go to Q. So, if we say we go 1 from here, 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 that'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is the farthest we can go, and that means we can encounter a 7-step path, in any of these squares. If you count all these squares, you will get 28. So that means our answer is A, 28. Okay, next question. When a positive integer n is fed into a machine, the output of the number is calculated according to the rule shown below. So, if we look at the diagram they gave us, if n is an even number, if say we put in n, and n is an even number, that means you divide n by 2. And if n is an odd number, you multiply by 3 and add 1. So, for example, starting with an input of n equals 7, the machine will output 3 times 7 plus 1 equals 22. Then, if the output is repeatedly inserted into the machine 5 more times, the final output is 26. When the same 6-step process is applied to a different starting value of n, the final output is 1, which is the sum of all such integers n. So, to solve this question, we just have to work backwards. So we'll start off with 1, and as we keep on going through, we will go to 2, then 4, and then from 4, we will go to 1 and 8. And then again, like before, we went from 1 to 2 to 4, and that's the same thing we'll do here, 1, 2, 4. And then that will go to 1 and 8, and that'll be done right there. And then the bottom row, when you go from 8, you would go to 16, and 16 would go into 32 and 5, and 5 would go into 10, and 32 would go to 64. So if we add 1, 8, 64, and 10, we get, so these two is 74, these two is 9, and then if you add these two, you get 83. So your answer is E, 83. Okay, next question. 5 different awards are being given to 3 students. Each student will receive at least 1 award. In how many different ways can the awards be distributed? So, the first thing you have to do is find out how many awards in total can be distributed, which also means all the possibilities. So, for that, if there's 3 students and 5 awards being distributed, if you do 3 to the power of 5, you get 243. Okay, so the next thing we look at is how many awards at least one person can get out of the 5. So the most we can get for one person is 3 because they can have one person that gets 1 award, the next person gets another 1 award, and the last person gets 3 awards. And these can be changed between people. So this 3 we would want to keep here. And if it says 3, we have to find out the maximum awards one person get in total. So for this, we would do 2 to the power of 5, which is 32. And there are 3 people, and this is how much you can get for one person, so you just have to multiply that by 3. So if you multiply that by 3, you get 96. And all you have to do now, you have to subtract 96 from 243, and then you want to add 3, and you would get 150. So our answer is B, 150. Okay, next question. A large square region is paved with n squared grade squared tiles, each measuring s inches on a side. A border d inches wide surrounds each tile. The figure below shows the case for n equals 3 when n equals 24. The 576 grade tiles covered 64% of the area of the large square region. What is the ratio d over s for this larger value of n? So the first thing is, if we have to find the area of the gray area, and to do that we would do 24s squared, and we have to find the area for the leftover area of the bigger square. So that would be 24s plus 25d squared. And that would all equal 64 over 100, because that's what 64% as a fraction is. And if we cross multiply this and put this into an equation, we will get 120s equals 96s plus 100d. And this simplified down more, we get 24s equals 100d, which is simplified down to 24 over 100 equals d over s. And now we just have to simplify this, and it's asking what d over s is. So d over s equals, and the simplified is 6 over 25. So our answer is A, 6 over 25. Okay, this will be the last question of this episode of AMC 8 2020, and this will also be the last question of AMC 8 2020. So now let's start this. Rectangle R1 and R2 and squares S1, S2, and S3 are shown below. Combine to form a rectangle that is 3,322 units wide and 2,020 units high. What is the side length of S2 in units? So, if it's 3,322 units wide and 220 units high, we can put that over 2 because these are identical and these are identical. So we can divide that and we can get S2. So this would equal 1302 over 2, and that would get you is 651. So our answer for the final question of AMC 8 2020 is A, 651. So I hope you guys like this video and this series, AMC 8 2020, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!